William Morrow and HarperAudio present Kill Your Darlings, a novel, by Peter Swanson, performed by Stephen Weber. For Chicky Sawyer and Jackie DeMaio, and in memory of Thom. If once a man indulges himself in murder, very soon he comes to think little of robbing, and from robbing he comes next to drinking and Sabbath breaking, and from that to incivility and procrastination. Thomas de Quincey. Blood will have blood. Macbeth. 2023. 1. The first attempt at killing her husband was the night of the dinner party. Wendy had been cajoled into hosting by Marcia Lever, the head of the English department. Marcia called Wendy directly instead of going through Thom, Wendy's husband, even though he was the one who taught at New Essex State University. But Marcia and Wendy had long been friends, and Thom, especially of late, was unreliable about making plans. "Feel free to say no," Marcia said on the phone, "but any chance you want to throw a small shindig out at Gooseneck? Just you and Thom, myself and Jim, if he doesn't get sick. And then our 2 new hires. You met Sally Johnson, right? She started back in the fall. I went to that introductory cocktail thing you threw, but I didn't talk with her. Who's the other new hire? There's a new admin I thought we could invite. Emily. Has Thom mentioned her?" He had, throwing her name out there in the awkward way he sometimes did when talking about his current crush. His voice would get very monotone, and he'd say something like, "Emily saw such and such movie and said it was brilliant. I've mentioned Emily before, haven't I?" "Sure," Wendy said. "That's 6, Marcia said. I'd invite Roger and Don as well, but only if it's okay with you. I know this is a big ask." "I'll do it, Marcia. I could use a boozy dinner party myself, but I'm going to make you stay late and help me clean up." Of course, totally. Thank you. Wendy, I owe you." The dinner party happened 2 weeks later. All said, it wasn't a total disaster. Marcia's husband Jim, not surprisingly, canceled at the last moment with a lingering cold he thought might be the flu. Roger and Don came, and Roger, in particular, made sure that the conversation never lagged. When Thom had first gotten his tenure-track position in the English department, Roger had been the old guard. Nearing 70 now, Roger was still the old guard, but Thom wasn't too far behind. Roger's husband Don had recently retired as the CFO of a large Boston company that did something Wendy could never remember, and it was clear that his retirement plans involved drinking himself to death in short order. Sally Johnson, recently poached from somewhere in California with the offer of tenure, was less chilly than Wendy remembered her being at the welcome party. Still, she wasn't exactly warm, but she did bring Gerbera daisies, and she did drink 2 glasses of wine before the meal was served and told everyone, again, about the thesis she'd written when she got her PhD at Cornell. Wendy watched her, fascinated by her posture and how carefully she chose her words. Everyone else was simply blurting out whatever crap popped into their heads. Sally seemed rehearsed somehow. Then Wendy remembered, a few years ago, when the poet Marcus Robertson had been a visiting professor, how he'd told her that black academics learned very early on that they had to be twice as professional as everyone else, that they could never show a chink in their armor, that there was no room for error. But the person at the party who really interested Wendy had been Emily Majorino, hired in January after Linda, the longtime department secretary, had retired. For one, Emily was Thom's type, exactly, down to the old-fashioned green cardigan she was wearing and a nervous habit of chewing at her lower lip. She had brown hair, shoulder length, large eyes set a little too far apart, and narrow shoulders. She brought a bottle of white wine, and when she handed it to Wendy in their large open kitchen, she said, "I've been looking forward to meeting you." "Oh," Wendy said. "I'm a fan of your poetry." Wendy actually laughed, since it was so far from what she was expecting to hear. "Sorry," she said, "you're maybe the first..."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?